Hello, everybody. It is Wednesdays with Chasey Poo. I believe today is I feel like we haven't done an advice week in like a really long time, but it's okay. We've been busy with things. The Trans Calendar Project. Let's just pretend we were busy with that. So this week's topic is how to be a good ally, and I've been waiting so long for this topic to be here because we have many things to talk about today, and I'm going to keep this short. I'm working on a really big paper, really important. Alright, so how to be a good ally, the number one most important thing, and I have not watched the two other videos previous to me, so I'm sorry about that, but the number one thing, if you want to be a good trans ally, let's just go with trans right now because there's like LGB, but let's not deal with that right now. We're just going to talk about trans because this is FTMtranstastic, okay? The number one thing to being a good trans ally is never speak in the place of a trans person's experience. Never. Ever. Ever. Ever think that you know what it's like to be trans if you are not trans, and then you go off into the world and you say, trans people experience this, I know, trans people experience that, I know, these are the experiences that I believe are happening. You're not trans, you don't really know. Now, I might seem like a really big asshole for saying that, because like there's a whole bunch of like cis people who help this community and blah blah blah, and use their cis privilege and their power in society to help trans people gain more. Historically, it's happened a lot. Let's take the example of straight people helping gays for marriage equality. Straight people going off into the world saying, I don't care if gays get married. It doesn't affect my marriage at all. Like, okay, see, straight people helping gays, cis people helping trans. It's happened a lot. And that's fine, but there's a certain point where it's not. Like, yes, a lot of people can maybe understand from an outsider's point of view the hate that happens in this community, which is funny, an outsider's point of view, like we're always being othered, and now I'm othering non-trans people for not having a trans experience. I don't mean it like that, but you know what I'm trying to say. Just a way to be a good ally is not to say, my trans brothers and sisters. Like, if you're not trans, we're not your brothers and sisters. Even though we fall under the LGBT category, the T is so left behind. People don't even know what it means. People think it still means transvestite. For fuck's sakes, that's not what it means. And I feel like people who say, for our brothers and sisters, it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable because you've been rejecting us our entire fucking life and never including us. And now that we're included, you think that everything is okay. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't like it. And maybe I just have this big aversion to, like, the gay rights movement. Only because trans people are never, ever, ever included. I'm going off on a little fucking tangent over here, but let me just talk about it. The whole marriage equality just freaks me out. I can't look the other way after I see something like this. Many gays and lesbians are fighting for marriage equality in the United States. Let's just use the United States as a point of reference. And for them, marriage is the most important fucking thing for gay rights. Like, they need to get married and then everything will be okay. But they're not taking account trans people's rights. They're not taking about queer people's rights. They're not thinking about the homeless trans and queer people out there and people who don't have access to medical transition. Like, those are a core in LGBT rights. Especially, yes, marriage also should be put into there, but it shouldn't be the, oh my god, we're gonna get married, this is the best thing ever, we don't need to think about anything, because gays have all the rights in the entire world. That's why it bothers me, and that's why being a good ally, this topic just gets me all anxiety, because I can't. After seeing all of that from like a Western America, because Canada we have marriage rights up here, which of course could be a perfect example. Yay, gays have rights. Let's not talk about anything else for the rest of our lives. Well, you still gotta fight to get your name changed and your gender marker changed. Although there is a huge process to go through, you can get it done, but it's the point that we have a huge process to go through and we shouldn't. Trans women are still being kicked out of shelters, trans men are being kicked out of shelters, trans women aren't allowed to go into the fucking bathrooms or to play sports, trans men the same, like, these are rights, and I know that trans is a very small number of people in the world. I am so tired of hearing that excuse. How to be a good ally? Do not exclude trans people from your allies. Oh, gays are all great, but trans. I've heard that. I have heard this. I think that if you're a really good ally, you can recognize that having an ally week, having an ally day, and having ally-like activities during Pride is a little excessive when you look at how many events trans people have in comparison to allies. Trans people do not have a trans week, or we have a trans day of remembrance to, you know, remember all the people that have been murdered over the last decades. You don't have that for allies. Allies don't get killed for being who they are. But if you're a good ally, you can really understand that comparing it is just ridiculous. There is nothing for trans people compared to allies. Allies get more praise for being allies than trans people do. Like, during Toronto Pride, for example, the trans march isn't even part of Toronto Pride. It's outside of Toronto Pride. It's not even part of it at all. It's all these trans people that are like, we're going to have a march, we're going to stand for it, and still Toronto Pride doesn't acknowledge that it's even there, which is, I can't, because Toronto Pride has fucking ally events and ally weeks. That's what gets me mad. How to be a good ally. Recognize that allies get more than trans people, and that's fucked up. Went on a little rant there for a very long time. I'm sorry. I hope you guys have a great week. Oh my god, I just got really mad. I'm just very passionate about this. I'm so done being put at the last part of the bus. It's like LGBA. And oh, is that a T at the end? I can't really see it. That's what I see. And that's what gets me really pissed off. Because allies get so much more than trans people. Yet we're in this community.